Well, look what I got in the shop today. 2004 Ford F150. This is the same one I did the radio and speakers in. And it came here today because this here window won't roll up or down anymore. It's broken. The switches work now and you can hear the motor turning, but the window doesn't move anywhere. So I'm pretty sure it's a regulator because these trucks seem to have that problem with the regulator. So first thing I'm going to do is get this door panel off, and the first thing I need to do that is to get the speaker panel off, which is prise off, and then I'll take the speaker out. But before I get to that, I'm going to go in the house and figure out some prices, see how much it'll run to get a new one, and I'll come back out and we'll pull that apart. Alright, now that I got the speaker out, I can go ahead and remove this little plastic piece here. Set it aside, I'll put that back later. And then now I have to pop these two little deals out so I can pull the door up later. And then I'm going to grab myself a screwdriver. I'm going to pry this handle up, and I'll disconnect the wiring in there, and then I'll pop this off, and there'll be, I believe, 3 screws between this and that I'll have to take out. And after that, there are 2 screws on the bottom, and then I do believe it will come out. So I'm going to go ahead and just start popping stuff off and come back if I see anything interesting. Alright, I got those little yellow pieces off the speaker there. They just kind of pop out if you push from the back side. It takes a little bit of doing, but it works. And I've also got the switch panel off and removed all the plug-ins. So now what I'm going to do is get inside this piece here, and I'm going to have to remove those 2 screws along with, I believe, yep, there's one there I've got to get rid of too. So I'm going to take those 3 out, and we'll take this door handle off, and we should be ready to go after I get those 2 screws on the bottom. Alright, now I went ahead and I took those screws out of the door handle here, and I popped up from this side to pull the door handle up. Now what I did to avoid marring this up here is I actually stuck a old hotel key card in there, and then stuck my screwdriver in here and pried against that, so kept it from getting gunked up too much. And now you just pull that out. Now the cable in the back, easy enough to undo. Well, not easy to do with one hand, but basically I gotta pop this out of here, out of this slot, and then I'll be able to bring this cable around and slide it out this hole here. So I'm going to do that. Can't do it with one hand. Well, maybe I could, but I'm not going to try. And then last 2 screws on the bottom, and we can lift the door panel right up and out of here. Well, as you can see, I've got the door panel off. That's easy enough. After you unbolt everything and take all the screws out, all you got to do is lift up on it, straight up, and it will come off. And then after you do that, you can go ahead and peel this plastic back. You can just pull on it and take a razor blade and cut along the adhesive, and it'll come off pretty easy. And then what I've already gone ahead and done is taken off these little clamps here that hold the window. All you have to do is loosen this nut, and the clamps will open up and the window will be free. And then push the window all the way up, and I've jammed a piece of cardboard in there because I didn't have any tape. I'd probably use tape or a stick or something to hold it up more permanently, but all I'm going to do for tonight is get this regulator out and then set the window back down. So all that's left now is 5 bolts. This one right here in the middle has to come out, and that holds the motor in. And then you've got one here and one here and one here and one there, and all you have to do for those is loosen them up, and then you can pull it up and push it out of the way. Now these little clamps, this one was easy to get to, obviously, because it's right here, but this one on this side was quite a bit tougher. I don't know if you can see it in there, but I had to take a wrench and kind of get in there, and it was a bit tricky, but I managed it. So I'm going to go ahead and loosen up all these bolts and get this regulator out of here. Alright, now I've got the regulator out, which is right here, and you can kind of see where places it broke. One, that clip came out of there, and this one here completely broke. So Yeah, kind of junk, but I've got my new one sitting there. Looks to be about the same, so I'm going to go ahead and throw that in and see if we can't get this thing working. Now, I said I was going to replace this with, or I was going to take this out and drop it down, but I ended up leaving it in and just wedging a board in here to kind of hold it. So it held for 2 days now, so you know, for the time I had to get the regulator, so it worked good. So let's see if I can swap these bolts over to that new regulator and then throw her in. Alright, I've got the new regulator all bolted in. And one thing that made me a little bit nervous when I first put it in was looking at the plug-ins here. I've got a square hole and a round peg, and they obviously don't work. And I got a little nervous and I thought, oh boy, I'm going to have to, you know, swap connectors, and nothing I couldn't handle, but I didn't really want to do it. So before I went ahead and started chopping stuff up, I just looked back here, and of course there's another connector, and this one on 2006 through 2008 models will just plug right in here. And for this model, since Ford decided to, I don't know, swap around the wiring, we have to use this little thing, so that when you hit the switch to go down, the window goes down, and when you hit it to go up, it goes up, because these apparently are backwards from factory. So I'm going to go ahead and take this off, put this new one in, and should be good to go. And then I can bring the window down, set it in those clamps that are behind the door here, and regulator will be almost in. Well, another thing with this regulator I forgot to mention is I went to the parts store and they told me they didn't have it, and I knew that was a lie. So there are two different kinds apparently that you can get for the front doors, and the door sizes are 50 inches and 43 inches depending on what kind of cab you have. And this one was 50 inches, but for some reason in their system you couldn't look it up by, you know, Ford F-150 extended cab and find it. It said it didn't have it, so I just told them 50 inches and they got me this one, and it seems to be the right one. I guess I'll hold my tongue until I get it all working, but alright, I guess I'll throw it in and make it work. Alright, now I've got the window set down into these clamps here, and one thing I wish I would have done before I put the regulator in is loosen these up, so I could have just slid the window in, but it was no big deal. All I did was plug in the switch and drop it down. So now I'm going to go ahead and put the keys in her and make sure that up is up and down is down.
Flavors of Dr. Pepper.
After we turn down that radio. There we go. Now I know they're, oh hey, look at that, lines up perfectly when it's on top. So I'm going to screw that one in now that I know it's lined up right, and then I'll pull it down. Oh no, I don't have to. I can screw it right in there. Perfect. Wish I would have known that before. Alright, door panel's all back together, and the window works good. Oh, where did I put the keys? There they are. Show you here real quick. Well, works fine. So I hope you watch this far into the video before you start tearing your door apart, because these two holes right here really help getting those clamps off the window. But yeah, if you go ahead and take the window out, if it's on the bottom, just pull it all the way up, tape it up, and you can get to those clamps real easy. But there it is, all done, ready to go.